Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Isabel, and today we will dig into the topic of vulnerability. So we will address whatever gets in the way of being more vulnerable in this session. If you're new to this will be an instructive healing session. So we'll basically be instructing our systems to let go of or release whatever we're ready to and able to at this point. Some things I'll speak out loud, so we're basically calling forth an energetic response, and that's what we'll clear on. And sometimes we'll also bring something in or online, I should say, because it's already within. But yeah, most of it is just resolving something that gets in the way. But just know that you're always in charge, and it's always you shifting within you, so it's not something that is done to you. So yeah, just get comfortable and then we can start. You can lay down, you can sit, whatever feels good to you. So pause the video if you need to, and then we'll start. So when you're ready, then just close your eyes. And just start by deepening your breath. And slow your breath and make it belly breath. So really breathe into your belly and follow your breath into your body. And see if there's any tension anywhere or any tightness, like any sensations coming up anywhere in your body. And if there is, then just breathe into them and try to relax a little bit more on the out breath. And just come back to your breath. And try to stay with that during this session, and we will get started. Okay, so we'll just start off by clearing on discomfort. Discomfort that just comes up around this topic. And stress that comes up. Okay, and then we want to release, that belief or that perception of that being vulnerable equates to being weak somehow. Like letting our guards down, expressing how we feel, opening up, that means that we're weak somehow. So let's release that. Then also feeling ashamed for how we feel. And feeling ashamed for expressing that. What comes up particularly here is sadness. So feeling ashamed for feeling and expressing that we're sad. So let's release that shame around that. And judgment around that. And also shame around our needs, like feeling ashamed for our needs. Okay, so that's clear on fear of emotional exposure. So feeling or being exposed. Like a fear of that. And a loss of control that comes with that and the stress around that. And a fear of uncertainty. So like all that like discomfort around uncertainty, because we don't know what the response will be. And we want to dissolve like feeling unsafe, like that it's not safe to open up. Let's work on that. Feelings of unsafety. Yeah, that seems like a big one, like not feeling safe. Okay, so that's clear on experiences when it wasn't safe, like when we didn't feel safe. And yes, experiences when we were judged, when we were criticized for opening up, humiliated, invalidated, disdained or shamed somehow, like all the hurts from that. Yeah, any times that happened, times it wasn't safe, hurts coming from that, and all that we've made that mean. And also times when we did that to others. And then the fear of that. So the fear of opening up and being judged or being criticized, being disdained, being shamed, invalidated, humiliated somehow. And the fear of losing one's face. Let's clear on that. Okay, so let's clear on feelings of distrust and betrayal of trust, like experiences of that and hurts from that. And the conclusions drawn from that. And that can be different for everyone. I mean, that could be like, sharing something and that's used against us somehow or spread without our consent. But it can also be trusting someone with our heart and someone being like unfaithful in some way. So any of that, like any betrayal of trust and feelings of distrust coming from that. And the fear of trusting, fear of opening up and trusting another. And then let's release a sense of feeling incapable when it comes to expressing our feelings. So it's like feeling like we can't say what we want to say, or somehow like can't translate that into words. Let's dissolve that feeling of incapability. That causes a form of paralyzation and frustration. So let's address that as well. And we want to let go of or dissolve like a fear of losing something or someone when we open up to them. So like a fear of losing relationship or fear of losing love, fear of losing belonging. Fear of being abandoned. Let's work on that. And underneath that, there's feelings of unworthiness. So let's clear on that. Feeling unworthy of being received fully. Let's dissolve that. And also feeling unworthy of being loved and accepted fully with all that is there. Yeah, that's a bigger one. So let's just stay on that a little bit longer. Okay, so we'll just let all of that sink in for a few minutes. We'll still be addressing a few things silently, but we'll let that integrate for now. You can start coming back. And then just take a deep breath. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes. You can also leave them closed if you want to, whatever feels good to you. Yeah, as always, you can come back to this if and when you feel called to do so. And yeah, just notice if anything comes up, especially in the next couple of days, and just allow it to be there. Like if there's any sensations, any emotions coming up, sometimes there's a bit of a more release afterwards. So just allow that, just don't spin any stories around it. Don't make it mean anything. Just feel it, be aware of it. And also, sometimes there can be somewhat of physical release. So you might not experience anything, but especially in this case, I'm saying it because a lot of what we worked on was um, in the upper back, or no, in the upper area of the body, really. And then when it releases, sometimes we feel it like as tension, for example, like in the back. So maybe tomorrow you feel like a bit of like tension, maybe in the middle back or the upper back or the trapezoid area. So it might not be, but if it is, then it's just going to be like for a couple of hours probably. And you can always, bring movement into it or flow into it to ease that tension. So I don't know, like stretching or dancing, or if that's something that you do, or just go out, for a walk, or take a long shower. Because yeah, like when we talk about protecting our hearts and not wanting to be seen or come out, like a lot of that is like stored in the back of the heart area. And betrayal of trust, any kind of that's like the back of that higher heart center, if you will. And then judgment, criticism, attacks, like being blamed, misunderstood, and all of that is like and the trapezoid a lot of times. So yeah, if that's your experience, just so you know. Yeah, this was kind of a packed session and felt somewhat intense, like for me at least. But it's such an important topic in a way because we all want, well, we're always in relationships somehow, but we all want connection, right? It's a need to have connection within and then with another. And yeah, that takes going below the surface, and that requires opening up and yeah, expressing more of what is there, right? And yeah, that brings up discomfort. It brings up fear. It doesn't feel, it feels scary, because it's uncertain. We don't know what's going to happen. So we have to lean into the discomfort and lean into that fear. Yeah, to be able to express what is there. And a lot of times what we do is we distract ourselves instead, go the opposite direction, or we go into perfectionism, that sense of, okay, if I'm just all perfect, if I look all perfect, if everything's just shiny on the outside, and I have all the right things, do all the right stuff, say all the right stuff, then no one's going to judge me or criticize me or push me away. But that won't work out, right? So yeah, we want to try to let go of that. And it's also, when we're chasing some idea or someone else's ideation, what we're doing is we're abandoning ourselves. And it's a form of self-denial, really, of what is there. So that's just going to lead to more hurt. And we're doing that in the first place to protect what is already there, those old hurts of rejection and abandonment and whatever it is. and we don't want that to be triggered, right? So we try to establish that perfect self-image, but it doesn't pan out. And then on the other hand, if we actually, go into that discomfort and are willing to express some of what we feel or what we struggle with, or, then that allows others to do the same too. And we all have something that we feel insecure about, and areas that we struggle with, challenges that we have, and insecurities, all of that. It's normal to have that. None of us are free of that, right? So the more we can actually be okay with that and allow that to be there and allow others to have that too, the deeper the connections can be. And it doesn't mean that we have to share everything with everyone. It can be in the group, but it can also just be, with one person where we feel safe, where we feel like we can trust, and where it's okay to try that out a little bit. And sure, sometimes we don't know if we approach somebody that, like saying I like you first, right? That we do not know. And that's where it comes in handy when we resolve, the bigger pieces, like the rejection, wounding, and all of that. And on that note, we have something on rejection here and on shame, and both of them really relate to this topic. So I'm going to link them if you want to check them out and you haven't already. But if we do that, then it's not going to feel so threatening. Because sometimes when we feel, there's like a mutual attraction, for example, and there's that, that deep resonance kind of. And by resonance, I don't mean, sometimes when people say resonance, they mean that someone's like-minded somehow. That's not what I mean. I don't mean like the same, I mean like that felt sense, that knowing of, that, right? Like that person. And if we have that and we feel that that's mutual, then still it's going to feel uncomfortable, and it might not always be, initially at least, what we think it might or what we hope it might be, right? So we might actually express some form of affection, even if just in subtle ways, and maybe the response is not what we thought it would be. But if we actually address those bigger pieces, then it won't even feel personal. It's never personal to begin with, but it won't feel that way either. And it won't feel like rejection. And then I can actually see, okay, whatever's going on for them, maybe it's just, I don't know, not a good time for them. Maybe they're overwhelmed somehow. Maybe they're overwhelmed with the affection. Maybe they're overwhelmed with their own feelings. And it doesn't even matter, because then I can just say, okay, I'm going to step back and just allow that to unfold naturally, and allow them to come forward when they're ready to do so, if they choose to do so. And also, on that piece of like resonance and it not meaning that everyone's the same. That has a lot of gifts to it. If we can actually, allow for those differences and let go of the judgments that we might have and the prejudices. I can't really say that word right, I think. Hopefully that was it. And let go of any, opinions we might have or whatever. Then we might notice that it's actually quite exciting, right? Like something else, something new. Because just imagine you're going to like a paint party and everyone has the same two colors. We might as well fall asleep, right? So if I have a range of colors and you have a totally different range of colors, then we can actually create something new. And we might also find, that when we express more of ourselves and feel more comfortable with all of that, being there, whatever that might be in the moment, then someone else might actually be able to help us with what we're struggling with, right? And vice versa. And then also a lot of things are maybe more common than we think. And what comes up here is something that came up recently was dyslexia, right? That's way more common than we think, at least like having a little bit of that. And I was participating in something not too long ago, and the instructor was like, well, if you have a little bit of dyslexia, just like I do. And I was like, well, yeah, right? Like that, just missing a letter here or switching one around, or I don't know, switching up directions, like clockwise, counterclockwise, east, west, like, wait, what? And a lot of us have that and we don't talk about it. Like it's some kind of like disorder or malfunction. When really I'm going to say that the majority here that's going to listen to this, whether that's now or in a year from now or whenever, will have that, even like if it's just to a tiny extent. And then we feel stupid around those things and feel like we have to hide them. And really, it's not even necessary to do that. Yeah. Okay. So that shall be it for today. If you have any questions, let me know. And other than that, thank you for being here, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.